Hello, my name is Jorge Valle, and today I will be going over Kubernetes and what it is, why it's important to learn about Kubernetes, and how it can help you, and what the main purpose of it is. Kubernetes are important when it comes to having a server, or if you want to have high availability on your site. Let's say you're a company that gets 2,000 users a day or an hour or maybe even 10,000 users. This is able to uh, give you the sense of high availability, which that basically means it can auto scale if it needs to, and it can also auto heal when, let's say, a server, or in this case they're called nodes, goes down. It can get it going, which is something that I'll show you here that would help us out. A tip before I start: it's actually really helpful if you're using Google Cloud Platform along with the Kubernetes documentation here. If you want to go ahead and get started, I totally recommend just having them side by side and going back and forth between each one. So it's great. Now that we are inside our Google Cloud Platform in our correct project here, what you want to do is go on the left side under compute, and there's this Kubernetes engine. For that, go ahead and click clusters. Since I already have one, as you can see, I have one here to tell you how many virtual CPUs I have and the total memory. Of course, since it's just demo purposes, I'm not gonna have the biggest one, but depending on uh, your organization, you should be able to figure out how much memory you should probably have. So that's what it is. And what we're going to do, or what I'm going to show, is my WordPress site next. Here's my WordPress site. It's called What About This Mix? And here's my post. If I want to see it as a user or as someone visiting, this is how it'll look like. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here. And what I'm going to do is show you what it will look like if or after you've created a post inside my SQL database. So there are some commands that you can use here so you can get going. Before doing so, let me actually see the services that are currently running right now. So if you remember, kubectl is going to be really important. And what you want to do here is you want to click on, or you want to run the kubectl get services. That'll let you know if it's going, or what is going here. As you may see, the WordPress dash MySQL cluster is not running right now. So if you use the following command, and if you have the correct password and everything, you should be able to get a cluster going here. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. It'll say if you don't see a command prompt, try pressing enter, so you do. And if everything is good, then you'll see a MySQL command. And so once you're in here, you want to do just a couple of snooping around, but since I am just wanting to show that WordPress site post, what I'm going to do is first show databases, and make sure you end with the semicolon here. We have the WordPress database, so I'm going to use it. From here, if you want to know more about the database, you'd probably do something like show tables. Remember to finish it. And it's more than likely that inside this WordPress database, so what I'm doing is to select for these columns, post date, name, and content from WP underscore post table. If you remember, this is what I typed in. You heard it yesterday. If I go back here, you heard it yesterday. So that's what it is. Now that I've showed that, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. And after I've done so, it puts me back. What I'm going to do is delete a pod, and then I'll show you what that looks like. And you'll see that it'll work on getting it back so that you understand what high availability is. So before I do that, I do something like this, get pods, just so we know what we have. As you may see, we have a couple running here. After that, you want to use the following command to get rid of a specific pod. You use the kubectl delete pod, and the name that's described after doing the get pods command here to type it for the MySQL database. And mine is under WordPress dash MySQL dash and then that long ID there. I'm gonna call it ID. I don't even know if it is ID, but I'm under the impression that it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And after I've done that, I'll go back to my WordPress site and I'm gonna refresh. It's gonna have issues trying to connect. And then I'm gonna refresh again and you'll see that we'll have another pod running. And that happens because we've specified inside my Kubernetes cluster that we always want to have one, and it'll try to create one as soon as we delete it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Make sure you type it in right. Looks like I didn't. So it's been deleted. So I'm gonna refresh this. It'll say, "Oh man, it has an error establishing to a database connection." If you refresh it again, it's back up. We didn't do anything. All I did was refresh, right? The reason why that happened is because again, we have the Kubernetes all about being high availability, which, as you can see, it created another one. Here we have another pod, so that will help us always keep our servers up and running, right? If it goes down, then you'll always have Kubernetes to help you out, create another node, and always have the database up and running. So the users, they'll see some of the impact, but as soon as they refresh again, they'll be able to get going. That is basically it. A little bit of Kubernetes, what we did here.